191. Put that in your phone right now. And then you can call next week and maybe win tickets, get in on Read the Pro, all that good stuff. Hey, for Rick Levy, for Bill Huffman, for Traveling Joe Passoff, who did a great job putting together the trivia questions today, I'm Mike Bauer, and I'm heading to the casino right now where I'm going to take the points. Jackson Groff. Hey, guess what, bud? It's your turn. It's Backspin the Golf Show, presented by Ping.
Thanks for tuning in to Backspin, the golf show, presented by Ping. Play your best. Until next time, hit long and straight, unless, of course, you're putting. And make sure to visit the Backspin Boys at backspinthegolfshow.com. Enjoy your round.
The can't-miss music event of the year is coming to the CW.
The 2022 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Featuring once-in-a-lifetime performances from the biggest superstars in all of music.
Ladies and gentlemen,
what's up, Vegas?
Make some noise. I don't know if y'all ready for this.
All hosted by Ryan Seacrest from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Don't miss our 2022 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
October 7th and 8th at 8 p.m. on the CW.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his fourth. But you know what they say, fourth time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Ew. Stuck in a cycle of rewashing your clothes? Because you can't remove tough laundry odor? When detergent by itself can't cut it, use new Downy Rinse and Refresh. With a breakthrough odor-removing formula, it removes odors in one wash, better than the leading value detergent in 3 washes, keeping all your laundry fresh. Now you can break the cycle of rewashing with Downy Rinse and Refresh.
This is the Parker & Sons Weather Center. For all your AC, plumbing, and electric needs, call Parker.
Plenty of sunshine for our Saturday with a forecast high at 98 degrees. Then at night, dropping to a low of 77 with an isolated chance of a shower or storm across the valley. For the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm meteorologist Crystal Ortiz.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. You might not have the biggest garage on the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips. Whatever you need, there's something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Monday from 10 to 1. This is KGME Phoenix, KESC HD2 Phoenix, an iHeart radio station.
Oklahoma with that score.
Brian Estrich from Learfield on the call. TCU has scored again. So right now the score is 41-17. Again, 90 seconds to go in the first half. Number 7, Kentucky is down to number 14, Ole Miss, 19-12. We also have number 4, Michigan dominating Iowa 13-0. Number 21, Minnesota is down to Purdue 10-3 at halftime. We also have Kansas State taking on Texas Tech, and Kansas State is up 13-10 with less than 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. In the NFL, the Browns have announced that they have downgraded star Myles Garrett out for tomorrow's game.
This is the Parker & Sons
travertine top worth over $7,000. For your chance to win, text PEAKS to 55678. You'll receive a confirmation text. Standard message and data rates apply. Again, text PEAKS to 55678 or enter at any of the 4 Twin Peaks locations.
Time for Arizona's only local sports gambling radio show. Take the Points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the Points on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome to Take the Points, the best and only sports betting show in Arizona. I'm Jackson Groff. I know you're probably wondering, hey, where is Mike Gross? He's usually the one hosting the first opening. Well, he is absent. Mike Bauer is on his way. So y'all are stuck with me for about 5 to 10 minutes. But hey, it's a great day here at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona at the new sports book. We got some bettors out here, some Georgia alums. We got about 10, 12 dudes right in front of me right now. It's the first time for me doing this in front of an audience as well. But we got a lot of bettors today as the college football slate will be the talk for our opening line. We got to talk last night's game before we talk about the unreal slate today. UCLA upsetting 15 Washington 40-32. Let me tell you, folks, UCLA is the only 5-0 team this season, which is shocking. After last year with UCLA, and you've seen Chip Kelly struggle to find a team, struggling to find a niche, and this is a great performance, not only for this team this season for the Pac-12. This is a great performance as they're moving to the Big Ten in 2 years, kind of showing people, okay, like we are that team in the Big Ten. When we are there, watch out. The Bruins are now 5-0. Like I said, their quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson had 315 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And if you look on Twitter, Dorian Thompson-Robinson with the most disgusting juke I've ever seen. 2 dudes from Washington collided heads, and he walked into the end zone. Just unreal play. I think this is a good statement for UCLA. We'll see if they can do it next week. I believe they play Utah next week. It'll be a statement game on national TV. This is a good look for them. It's a good look for the Big Ten, too, as you add UCLA. But let's talk about the college football slate here today. Last week, folks, 9 of the top 15 teams were one-possession games. That's what tells you about how great college football has been this season. But some updates for you. Number 4, Michigan, up 19-0 against Iowa. If you're a Michigan fan, no need to worry. They cover the spread. You're good there. Now, the game to watch right now is Ole Miss, Kentucky. Ole Miss is up 19-12. Now, Ole Miss is the 14th seed. Kentucky is the 7th seed. Kentucky currently driving on Ole Miss's 35-yard line right now, looking to score. But the big storyline right now is Mississippi's quarterback Jackson Dart not playing to where we thought he was going to play. 8 for 18, 141 yards, and 1 interception is not going to do it for you. But hopefully they can turn it around, as I bet Ole Miss the money line as well. We proceed to the biggest upsets of the day right now. TCU dominating Oklahoma at half, 41-17. Folks, TCU was a 10-point underdog heading into this matchup. The TCU Horned Frogs undefeated, and they look impressive against the Oklahoma team that many thought were pretty overrated. As we head to the next game, Purdue 10-3 over 21 Minnesota, but don't worry, Gopher fans. Row the boat. They are currently driving right now, looking to score. We got some Minnesota bettors right in front of me as well. And then lastly, the game that is intriguing because both teams are similar in skill, but one is ranked 25 and one is unranked. Texas Tech against 25 Kansas State. Kansas State up 13-10. And it looks like Texas Tech's about to score a field goal to tie up that game. And then Oregon State, Utah. Utah, number 12 team, is kicking off right now. But those are the current updates of the games. And, folks, it's not only right now that these games are very good, it's the next slate. It's the next, what'd you call it, the segment, the next time, 12:30. We got 2 Alabama at 20 Arkansas. And, folks, this Alabama team, this has got to be a statement win. I think they need to dominate Arkansas to prove that they're that team this year, that they have no flaws. This is kind of your prove-it weekend, contender or pretender type weekend. You got 9 Oklahoma State at 16 Baylor. Now, Baylor's been looking impressive the past couple of weeks. Oklahoma State hasn't played anyone sharp, hasn't played any good competition. Central Michigan, ASU, both blowouts. We'll see if the Cowboys are contenders or pretenders today. Then you got number 22, Wake Forest, at 23, Florida State. Now, this is an intriguing matchup as Wake Forest lost a tough overtime game last week against Clemson. They look to bounce back against a hot and fire starting Florida State Seminoles team at the 23 ranked right now. Jordan Travis, Mike Norvell have been exceptional so far this season. This is their first real test as they play Wake Forest this week, and then they got to bounce back and play Clemson next week. And lastly, 17 Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Mississippi State is very underrated, underranked, and they're not ranked. And this is going to be a test for the Aggies. We'll see how they do here. And then obviously to cap off the day at 4:30, 10 NC State at 5 Clemson. We'll talk to Marco D'Angelo later in the show, our regular guest sports betting phenom and legend, about the 10 NC State at 5 Clemson matchup. We'll also have Bo Brock on around 12:03. Oh, he got moved up a slot. That's how important he is. He's the PHNX Cardinals reporter over there at PHNX. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about, folks. Let's get right into it. Obviously, we just talked college football, and college football right now is what a lot of people are betting on. It's a thing where people have loved college football or hated college football right now. It's so unpredictable to pick. For me personally, when you look at the spreads, when you look at the rest of the spreads for the rest of the day, I think the safe bets are Alabama minus 17 against Arkansas. I think you look at Oklahoma State plus 2.5. They're an underdog in this game, which is surprising because they're the 9th seed at Baylor. And then when you keep scrolling down, I like Wake Forest plus 6. I think this is going to be a close game. I think Florida State's going to win, but I don't think it's going to be a 6-point margin for Florida State. But some of the absurd spreads we have here is Ohio State minus 39. And I understand they're playing Rutgers, 3-1. Rutgers has had a tradition of not being well, but to cover 39 points, folks, is very tough. So, like those who watched the Rock and Minute show on Thursday, Rock picked the Rutgers plus 39 there. Just a huge spread to cover for the Scarlet Knights. We got a great show for you guys today. We're going to talk Cardinals. We're going to talk NFL. We're maybe talk some Tua. You know, we don't know what is going on with that situation. We're not doctors in any means, but being a former player myself, being a part of the concussion protocols, I'll have my say in this. We're also going to talk the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl kind of slid under the radar this week. A little news change from the Pro Bowl as they're going to be having some games this year. No tackle football, which is great for the Pro Bowl. I think it will draw more fans in, and it was just a bad game to watch because, let's be honest, they were basically playing flag football in pads as well. We're going to talk NFL, like I said. We're going to talk Cardinals. The Suns start their preseason today. I know people are so focused on football right now, but basketball is just around the corner, and it's one of those times in the year where football and basketball are there at the same time. The Suns start their preseason tonight. We'll talk Suns preseason odds, and then we'll also talk about what's going on in the Suns franchise. I mean, you got DeAndre and you got Monty Williams not talking since Game 7 of last season, folks. And being a former athlete myself, obviously I'm not at that level, but being played at Montana, usually in the off-season time after your loss and when you start practicing again, coaches will catch up with you, maybe give you a text, not even a call. A call, you don't have to call the player. That's not where I'm going at. text the player. Make sure they're doing all right. My sophomore year, I didn't hear from my receivers coach in a while, and we thought he was either fired, we thought he got a new job, or we thought he was just off the face of this earth. And that was the case there for the Suns. It'll be interesting this year as Jay Crowder not coming back this year. We'll see where he goes trade-wise here soon. He's not going to be there for camp, but I mean, people were projecting him as a first-round pick that they could trade for him, which is great for the Suns. Maybe get Jordan Clarkson, maybe get Cedi Osman. Like, you got so many options you can get for Jay Crowder. I hope they add some depth on the bench, but also a pick wouldn't be too bad, as the January 13th deadline will come here shortly. We got all of this and more here on Take the Points. It's just myself currently. I guess Bauer's running a little late. Just did the backspin show for golf, and they've been doing that for a while as well. But we got a lot to do today on the show. We got Jeff Hudzo from Best Deal in Town. He's got TVs. You could win a $50 gift card if you beat Hudzo. Like I said, we got Bo Brock coming in at 12:03, and then Marco D'Angelo at 12:30 from Wager Talk. We'll talk some betting experiences that he's had. We'll talk some betting tips, because we always talk about certain games, but folks, I always want to know what people's mindset is heading into these bets. So we'll have all of this and more. Take the Points on Fox Sports 910 AM.
The Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
You're live. It's back. Monday night tailgate this Monday right here at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Win cash for just watching football. Tons of ways to win money. The kickoff jackpot, which is currently at $700. The guys add $25 after every score. Plus, you can win some cash with the squares for each quarter, props, and some weeks of football bingo. They do it all, and it's free. It's Monday night tailgate here at Casino, Arizona. Doors open at 4. Tune in on Monday to Rock and Minute with Jimmy B every Monday beginning at 1. I will also be here as well for that tailgate, and I'd like to introduce, welcome to the show, Bauer.
Hi. You actually you have to let me in on the stream.
Oh, my bad.
You have to click the allow guest on the stream.
There we go.
Stream alive. Hey, how's it going? Man, great job opening up the show. My lazy ass was just hauling, down to the 202 to the 101. Is probably going about what's the over under on my high speed?
I'd say 80.
Oh, over. Easy.
I know, 85.
I said the over under on the high of my. Oh, I mean that was probably the average was 80. There was this dude with Virginia plates in front of me that was going way too slow. I was like, bro, I gotta go. I got a radio show to do. I gotta put Backspin the golf show. Gotta wrap things up, beat the pro contest, give away a bunch of money to Vans Golf Shops every week, as long as you beat Rick. And I got to wrap that up, and I got to go. I'm like, Virginia, it's for lovers. Get out of my way, dude. What are you doing? Get moving. I got to get down to the CAZ Sports Bar, and I'm listening to you, and I hear this rowdy crowd. These guys right in front of me. They're throwing back some cold ones. They got a bucket right there with an ice cold. Was that a bottle of wine? Are those Man Mosas, boys? Is that what we got there? Let's go. Let's
I
go.
respect a nice Man Mosa, honestly. In the morning like that, it hits different. Oh, yeah. Definitely a rowdy crowd. Well, Bauer, we talked off air. Let's get into the NFL, but I want to first talk about your opinions about this whole Tua scandal. I mean, we're not doctors ourselves, but
all right. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to turn it right back to you because you had mentioned something as a former player for you. Now, granted, as far as I know, as long as we've known each other, Jackson, I believe you did not play in the NFL.
No.
Okay. Do you still have hopes to maybe get?
I mean, I still got eligibility. I got tape. I don't know.
So for those of our listeners that are just tuning in and just getting to know Jackson Groff, Jackson, you played where, what position for how long?
University of Montana, wide receiver.
Okay.
Played for about it was 2 years. I wish it was 4 years, but due to COVID, it's politics. We don't want
COVID.
It's all good. Only 2 years, but hey, it was a great 2 years. Yeah, most people can't say they did.
So, and before that, you played in high school. You're a football kid, right?
Yeah.
How many times coming off the field, if you got your bell rung, were you thinking about my concussion protocol, or were you thinking, Coach, I got to get back in?
I got to get back in,
right?
Yeah,
because everybody almost to a man, not to a Tagovailoa, but to an individual. You get your bell rung, you want to get back in the game. And you're immediately telling the coaches, no, I'm good. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know if that happened to you ever, where you coming across the middle, you're running, you're wanting to run those in routes, and all of a sudden you get some guy ear holes you. I remember that back in the day when I was playing high school football. I was a tight end, a little H back, and I hated going right across the middle because, and not all the time, but every once in a while you get some middle linebacker that would just ear hole you right as you're trying to turn your route, because guess what? You're inside 5 yards and they can take you out. And immediately, hey, Coach, no, I'm good. And that's the reaction of just about every athlete is, no, I'm good. Now, the other night, Thursday night, Tua, he's laying there on the ground, and you can see that reaction, that reaction from the nerves of where his hands weren't moving.
Yeah.
And they're not just like, oh, they're not moving. They're stuck in a weird position. And it is a terrifying sight. He gets stretchered off. He gets taken to the medical center. but he's watching a movie on the plane with a coach on the way home. So
Yeah.
that's the good news is hopefully he's okay. But that conversation about Tua and all right, last Sunday, just a few days before, you're playing on a short week. His head hits the turf. Not a concussion. He goes out of the game, comes back in. You say it's a shoulder thing. But now he comes back in, and back-to-back games, you've seen Tua. And I don't know. I mean, for me, it's one of those things where, look, every player is going to want to go back in. So on Sunday, when Tua wants to go back in, he goes, he gets concussion protocol. And at least based on everything we've seen, they checked all the boxes. They followed the protocol, right?
Yeah.
But
I think the biggest thing here when you look at this whole Tua thing going on right now, I think it was the stumbling from the first one that got people alarmed. But also, I mean, I hate the backlash right now that Mike McDaniel is getting from this because, I mean, as a head coach, your job is to be the coach. Your job is not to be the doctor or the medical staff or anything like that. So when the lead doctor comes up to you and tells you that he's fine and he's good to play, you're going to play him. When the lead doctor that you trusted this whole season has told you that some players can't play, that some players can play, you're going to trust him. Now, the second time this happened, I was worried not only for his head, I was worried for his whole being. I mean, the initial 2 minutes, you didn't even see any of his extremities move. Thank God that everything's fine with that. But it's a sticky situation. But at the end of the day, I think it's just going to be resolved. I think the Dolphins staff did everything correct, all of the concussion protocols and stuff like that. And you even saw Ryan Fitzpatrick interview Tua, I believe it was 2 days before the game or even a day before, excuse me. And he's playing the guitar, the ukulele, they're singing, they're having fun. He's alert. So I don't think I've never had a concussion, but I've seen people that have concussions.
That's good news. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, never had, thank God.
I've had a couple of those. Not fun.
Yeah. Were you
I was not playing football.
But were you alert? Were you like, do you feel a little off, I guess, when you had a concussion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things, so the first time I had it, I was very young. I was in high school, and I was playing around. I actually, just kind of, I don't know if you've ever been to like the state fair or the county fair, right? Arizona State Fair, and they have the giant inflatable like obstacle course. So not like children's bounce house, right? This is like American Ninja Warrior inflatable bounce house giant thing.
Yeah.
So I had jumped off the top of one trying to win racing a buddy of mine, and I just landed on the back of my head. Not good. Concussion.
Did
I
you
was
win?
out. What's that?
Did you win?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I just didn't remember winning. But the most recent one was a handful of years ago. It's probably about yeah, I can't remember. It's probably not a good sign. No, but it was a while ago. It was probably about 8 years ago. I'm up at Snowball in Flagstaff, and I'm snowboarding. And hit a little patch of ice. Didn't see that coming, right? Little patch of ice. And unfortunately, my board went out from under me and smacked my head right into the ice and slid down the slope. Kind of came to at the bottom of the steep part of this, It was a black diamond, not to brag. not that look, I mean, black diamonds in Flagstaff are like blues everywhere else. But I go down the steep part, and I had yard sailed, right? You know what that is when you yard sail? I had just my hat, my gloves, they were up there on the hill. So some stranger, random person coming down, hey man, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. They're like, okay, because here's your hat and here's your gloves, and they were way up there. Are you sure you're okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So I snowboard down. I get back down I'm feeling pretty good. I do one more run, right? Again, not comparing myself to an NFL player, to somebody who played in college, but just even my dumbass snowboarding is sitting there thinking, no, I'm good. I'll just get back in line, get back on the chairlift, meet up with my buddy. Hey, man, what took you so long to get down? Oh, I fell, but I'm good. I'm telling my buddy Bobby, hey, no, I'm good. So we go up to the top, do one more run. I go down the Agassiz Bowl, a little bit tamer of a run. Go down the Agassiz Bowl and make my way down and get down to the bottom and go, I'm gonna take a break. I tell my buddy Bobby, hey Bob, I'm gonna take a breather. Again, I'm not comparing myself to an NFL player, but my initial reaction was, I'm good. I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna get back on the chairlift, and then later I was like, no, I'm not feeling too great. So then I went into the lodge. Went and as I'm sitting in the lodge, kind of the adrenaline rush gets out, and I go, damn, I got a headache, bro. I'm not feeling too great. And I've never, knock on wood, I've never had an issue in terms of having hangovers after having a few beers after a night. But I've always heard people talk about light sensitivity, right? Like I went out drinking all last night. I don't even want to look out the window, the damn sun. But I had this light sensitivity, kind of had a fog on my eyes where I was like, I don't want to go outside. It's bright out, the sun reflecting off the snow. And so for me, I just sat there and had a couple cold beers, and I told my buddies, I was like, you guys keep skiing, you keep snowboarding. I'm just going to stay here. But I had this like almost blur, like my vision was a little bit blurry, a little foggy, right? Like, like one of those interviews when you get it like on Dateline where they got the soft focus, looks a little fuzzy, where they're telling a really in-depth sob story. I'm thinking Tom Rinaldi, this kind of thing. And it's got that soft focus. So everything looked a little blurry. But my initial reaction was like, no, I'm good. And, for somebody like Tua, I think that it's such a cliche, but, picture's worth 1,000 words. But, if you look at the video and you see him stumbling, and then you see him go into what's referred to by, from a neurological standpoint, as a fencing response. The fencing response for his arms or head up there it's a neurological response to head trauma. It's that you have a much more of a visceral reaction in addition to the information, which for the Sunday game, not this past Thursday, was he didn't have a concussion and he's okay to cleared. He's okay to be cleared. And for Mike McDaniel, the head coach, hey, look, you check with the medical professionals. You go, is he good? You ask the next one, is he good? You ask the next guy, is he good? You ask the next girl, is he good? Is he good? Is he good? He checks all the boxes to go back in the game. As a head coach, your job is to trust the professionals and say, he's good to go back in. But for us as a viewer to look and see stumbling, to see that response and have the benefit of hindsight and be able to say, he got a concussion on Thursday, his head hit the ground. And the benefit of hindsight is to go in that moment, say he shouldn't have been in the game. When multiple neurological professionals, the team trainers, the doctors, they looked at him and they said, on Sunday, you can go back in. He passes that. And it's not just the team doctors, right? This is independent neurologists that are there for that purpose. If you're the coach, you trust those professionals and go, if he's good, then he's going back in. We got to win a football game.
Well, we wish Tua all the best.
Absolutely.
Thoughts and prayers to him. We'll be right back to talk more NFL and college football here on Take the Points.
Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
That's right. It is Take the Points. As the voice dude said, all that stuff, right? We're here. We're at Casino, Arizona. We're at the CAZ Sports Bar.
Yeah.
But even more importantly, the CAZ Sports Bar in the last few months has added the Casino, Arizona Sports Book as well. You got to get over here, take a look at the odds, put down a couple shekels, and it is a lot of fun. You have the automated betting machines in addition to the sports book. So if you want to go old school and you want to walk up to the window, hand over a couple dollars, put down a couple shekels on a game, you can do that. Walk right up to the friendly staff at the sports book. And one of the things that's great too is that let's say that you're new to gambling, right? Gambling is new to the state of Arizona. Just over a year ago, gambling was, the rules were passed, was legalized here in Arizona. Let's say you're new to gambling. The friendly staff, they can help you out. You don't have to feel intimidated. You can walk up to staff and go, hey, look, I want to bet on this. How do I do that? And they'll help you out.
Wow.
They'll walk you through. So it's always a ton of fun here. We got a great group of guys in front of us watching a whole bunch of games, the whole wall, 6 different games going on behind us, TVs all over the CAZ Sports Bar. So much to do. Now, in terms of games that are on TV, this one's not on right now, but it will be on a little bit later this afternoon. We got a great game on AZ TV. You got Grambling State hosting Prairie View AZ TV Channel 7, your new home for college football here in Arizona. Schools produce some of the greatest athletes, great football, and on top of this, this game's at Grambling. High energy halftime bands as well, about as good as it gets.
Let's
the Grambling
go.
Tigers. Coverage you won't find any other station. Kickoff today at 3, college football on AZ TV Channel 7. That's a fantastic matchup there. AZ TV Channel 7. Now, last segment we're talking about Tua Tagovailoa, and then a little bit of news comes down.
Breaking news. folks.
News, actually from a former Sun Devil, or I guess always a Sun Devil, Cronkite ASU grad. I got to say that because as a professor there, I got to represent for the Cronkite school.
Okay.
But Cronkite ASU grad, Marcel Louis Jacques, he's a Dolphins reporter for ESPN NFL Nation. He puts out a tweet that says the UNC, which would be the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant.
Okay.
Right? That's the third party, not the team doctor.
The UNC.
Because one would think it would make sense that the team doctor has a vested interest in getting players back out on the field to win football games.
Totally.
So that's the reason why this exists. The unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant. The NFL's Players Association exercised their prerogative to terminate the consultant, and the consultant who evaluated Tua Tagovailoa on Sunday, not on Thursday, has been fired after it was found he made, quote, several mistakes in his evaluation. Tua was evaluated for a concussion after the game on Thursday, of course, but cleared to remain in the game against the Bills. Huge win for Miami.
Yeah, and he threw a touchdown pass, too.
Huge win for them against what team, a lot of people thought was the most unbeatable team in the NFL. Monster game on Sunday. But then on Thursday, he's back in against the Bengals, taken to a hospital, hits his head on the turf. We all saw that. It was laying on the turf for over 10 minutes, about 12 minutes, carted off the field, stretchered off, taken to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center with a concussion and a neck injury. Officially diagnosed with a concussion. He's in the protocol with no timetable to return. But that report that and again, this is the important little couple words here, unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant. That means that this is the guy that works for the league. Or I don't actually know the name of the person. It could be a woman. But the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant that evaluated Tua Tagovailoa fired over several mistakes.
Well, this is huge because this doesn't fall back on the Dolphins medical staff. This falls back on the NFL's medical staff. The fact that he works for the NFL and he's not affiliated with the Dolphins, I mean, there's a lot of question marks here. There's some things that the NFLPA will continue to investigate with this person. But, I mean, this is not a good look for the league, not even just for the Dolphins. This isn't a good look for the league. I wonder what went through, what several mistakes that he made. We'll find out probably in the next coming days or weeks. But, I mean, I guess I was kind of right when I was talking about the Miami Dolphins staff, but I didn't even know there was an unaffiliated person that was working with Tua that was representing the NFL.
Yeah, that's
Huge news.
That's what happens with every concussion. Every suspected concussion when guys go through in-game protocol. That is the NFL's policy is to have that unaffiliated trauma consultant. So here's a couple official statements, if you will. Tua Tagovailoa, he puts this out on his Twitter the other day at Tua. Again, I'm jealous of people that get their Twitter name. He's got at Tua.
That's
man.
sick.
Man, how do I get at Bauer? All right. Tua says, I want to thank everyone for all their prayers and support since the game last night. Again, this comes out yesterday. It was difficult to not be able to finish the game and be there with my teammates, but I'm grateful for the support and care I've received from the Dolphins, my friends and family, all the people who have reached out. I'm feeling much better and focused on recovering so I can get back out on the field with my teammates, and then a bunch of hashtags. So that's the official statement from Tua. However, you have the head coach, Mike McDaniel. He puts out not necessarily an official statement, but he did talk about this. Quotes from Mike McDaniel. Quote, the whole process for what happened in the Bills game was he was evaluated for a head injury immediately. That's what brought him into the tent and what we brought him inside for. He was evaluated again, and like we talked about last segment, this is the important part from the head coach's perspective. And I'm not saying to absolve Mike McDaniel from any responsibility here, but this is his quotes, and this is what he's doing as a coach. He was evaluated and then cleared by several layers of medical professionals who, I don't pretend to be one, but those people, the collection of them, cleared him of any head injury whatsoever. He also had a back and ankle issue. The head coach of the Dolphins continues. So in terms of deciding whether or not to play a guy on a Thursday game, I was concerned about his lower back and his ankle, putting it in harm's way. I have 100% conviction in our process regarding our players. I look at this and I put myself in Mike McDaniel's shoes, and I can't fault him. It's not. I mean, I don't know how you feel here, Jackson, but to me, it's not his fault.
Oh yeah,
it's not his job. He's not the doctor. It's his job is to coach football games and to coach the players that are available to him. Right now, Cliff Kingsbury, he's coaching the guys that are available to him. That means he's not coaching DeAndre Hopkins. Again, it's not a concussion, but your job as a coach is to coach the players that are available to you. And who tells you in this instance players are available or not?
Yeah, this will be my last.
Several medical professionals.
This will be my last statement on it as we move forward in the show. But, I mean, the biggest thing here, like you said, Mike McDaniel focusing on coaching. But when you have levels and levels of medical staff that have been to years of medical school, that have probably 5 to 8 years of medical school and have done training for a while, obviously, because they made their way up to the NFL. They don't just go from college to the NFL unless they're an intern or something like that. But, I mean, as a head coach, when you hear he's good to go and you trust someone, you trust this doctor that you've talked to for a while, I mean, he's good to go. You've seen him. You're having an alert conversation with him. He throws a touchdown pass. Of course, you think he's fine. But it'll be interesting to see what comes out later with that news. But, yeah, but Bauer, when we look at college football right now.
There's a lot of it going on. There's a wall of it right behind us.
Which is awesome here at the CAZ Sports Bar. There's actually 8 games going on right now.
Bro, can we start with TCU just taking Oklahoma out to the woodshed? What is happening with Sooner Nation? They just lost last week to, Kansas State? And now they're over there. They're hanging out in Fort Worth. They're thinking they're going to have a Sooner bounce back party. They are getting mollywomped.
Well, the biggest thing that surprises me is Brent Venables is a defensive mind. So now they put 48 points for TCU. Like that's insane. They're on 48-17. But another game right now, Kentucky is currently driving. The 7th seed Kentucky, 19-22. They're down. They just stopped Ole Miss on 4th and 1 on their own 4-yard line. We got a lot of interesting games here. We'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, unreal.
Tons of football to get into. College football happening right now. NFL football. We'll get into the full slate of games over the course of the show. And we're going to dive in deep with Bo Brock of PHNX Sports at the top of the hour. He'll join us at noon. at noon 30, our guy Marco D'Angelo. I'm Michael. Marco D'Angelo. He joins us every week, and a couple really good picks. We're gonna talk to Marco about that Cardinals game, Cardinals Panthers taking on Baker the touchdown maker, and then also the big game of the day, the biggest game, 2 top 10 teams showdown in Death Valley. Clemson going to be on the slate. I love the fact that Marco's actually given our listeners his pick on the biggest game of the college football slate. That, Pac-12 action, and more, all right here on Take the Points, Fox Sports 910 Phoenix.
By the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
You're live.
All right, 602-260-9191 is your number to get your picks in right now, because we're going to make some picks. Well, we're going to make our picks next hour, because that's what you do in radio. You listen, next hour for our picks. But our guy Jeff Hood's out from Best Deal in Town, bestdealaz.com is how you find him on the internet. But in order to find him right now, we just go to the phone lines. Jeff Hood's out from Best Deal in Town is joining us. And Jeff, we got 3 games on tap. Last week, bro, you went 2-1. Congratulations. Well done on that one. U of A screwed us all.
It's a new month, and it's new month, new me, guys. I'm excited. We're gonna turn it around.
There you go. You had Utah and the Rams last week for winners. Unfortunately, The Arizona Wildcats, for us in terms of betting, didn't win. They didn't even cover, weren't anywhere close. Fortunately for us as Sun Devils, that worked out well. But, Jeff, let's take a look, and let's stick with those Wildcats. The Arizona Wildcats right now just ran over to the sports book here at Casino Arizona, CAZ Sports Bar. The Arizona Wildcats, that's why I'm winded, as I literally ran over there. 17.5 points. 17.5. They are favored, not surprisingly at all whatsoever, at home against the Colorado. They are terrible at football, Buffaloes.
Guys, what's the name of the show again that we're on right now?
It's called Take the Points, Jeff Hoodzell.
Taking the points. You guys know the get-in price for this game is $4.
Wow.
$4, you can get into the game. For $5, you get $1 back. Stinker, this is. I'm taking the under, and I'm taking Colorado 17.5.
Colorado. Oh, and you're also jumping at the under. I got 57.5 is the number here at the Casino Arizona Sportsbook. So 57.5. You're taking the under. Colorado. You're taking it's the name of the show, for goodness sakes.
Literally the name of the show. just like Best Deal in Town is the name of the store where you can get your best deal on TVs. Take the Points is the name of the show.
It's that
and
easy.
That might be some foreshadowing for my next pick, Michael.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, let's put it this way. There's a lot of points on the board for this next one. The Arizona State, the Arizona State Sun Devils are on the road at USC, the University of Spoiled Children. The University of Southern California. They're on the road at USC. Jeff Hoodzell, this is a game that you and I covered numerous times when we were in our student media days back at ASU and saw ASU get whooped on many times at USC. The Devils in the Coliseum. USC, I'm taking a look at the number here at the Casino Arizona Sports Bar, CAZ Sports Bar, 25.5. 25.5 is how many points USC is favored. You alluded to it. Are you really taking the points here?
The best part about this game is we get to watch it on television tonight on ESPN.
I don't believe you.
The worst part about this game, Michael, on television, we get to watch it tonight. This is going to be a stinker. But that's a lot of points, and these are semi-professionals playing against other semi-professionals. So I'm taking the points. I'm taking the 25.5.
Okay. Well, the best part about ASU is they're playing a late night game, so at least half the country won't be watching the game because it'll be 10:30 at Eastern time. So at least only half the nation will be watching this game.
I'm disappointed that this isn't the late Pac-12 after dark. It's like the twilight Pac-12 after dark. I wish we were in the late spot.
That's funny.
The 8 o'clock game is Stanford, Oregon. That's Stanford, Oregon. That will be your hashtag Pac-12 After Dark shenanigans. All right, Jeff Hoodzell joining us. Best deal in town, bestdealaz.com. Now, here's the way it works on Take the Points. He's already taken the points. He's living up to the name of the show. But if you call in 602-260-9191, first person to get in right now, our guy Richie's standing by. If you beat Jeff Hoodzell, you're going to win a $50 deal. $50 gift certificate to Best Deal in Town. That's great. Right there off the bat, you're going to win a $50 gift certificate to Best Deal in Town. All you got to do is beat Jeff Hoodzell's picks, and right now he's gone Colorado plus 17.5. He's gone ASU plus 25.5. And on top of that, if you beat him, you win that $50 gift certificate. You also get entered to win a 75-inch 4K smart TV from Best Deal in Town. You can check out that TV and so many more great deals online at bestdealaz.com or head down 235 East Baseline Road in Tempe. If you're like me and you're bad at math, that's the southwest corner of College and Baseline.
What's the phone number again for people that want to enter?
I have no idea. Oh, for us.
Oh, yeah.
602-260-9191. I was like, you could just call Jeff on his cell. I'll give that out.
Please, just do that. You already posted enough pictures of me with a questionable bald spot on the back of my head, which you appeared to have the great angle on. Send my cell phone out there for everybody else.
I don't think it's questionable. I think it's just a bald spot, bro. Hey, so Jeff, the final game tomorrow. The Arizona Cardinals going back to a place that at least Cardinals fans don't have fond memories because of a terrible playoff embarrassment not a few years ago, many years ago now. But the Carolina Panthers playing host to the Arizona Cardinals in what is unfortunately an afternoon game as far as I'm concerned, but probably good for the Cardinals to not be playing the early game. Carolina catching 1.5. They're laying 1.5. The Panthers minus 1.5. 43.5 is the over-under on this one. What do you think about the Cardinals going on the road there, Jeff Hoodzell?
Jake Delhomme is not walking through that door, and I am a huge revenge game guy. Like, that's what I'm about.
Okay.
And Baker Mayfield going against his former college coach, Cliff Kingsbury. I'm taking my man Baker. He's cooking it up. They're going to win 20.
Did he cut off?
I think we might have Jeff. I don't know if we disconnected or Jeff did. Hey,
Still
Jeff,
here.
you still? What was that number again? Hit me.
7. Laying the 1.5 and the under.
Laying the 1.5 and the under. All right, so that's your revenge game.
1 minute.
You're signed with Baker, the touchdown maker. There you go, Jeff Hoodzell. Best deal in town. Always good to catch up with you, man. Always great deals at bestdealaz.com as well.
Appreciate it.
Have a great one, boys.
I go to the website and I'm looking at they got TVs, they got Apple products, they got home audio, they got everything from wall mounts to freaking cables and furniture, all available at discount prices. Bestdealaz.com. It's coming up next. Speaking of that game, that Arizona Cardinals at Carolina Panthers game, we're going to break it down with Bo Brock from PHNX Sports. He hosts their daily podcast at PHNX Sports, the Cardinals podcast, of course.
10.
We'll catch up with Bo Brock next on Take the Points, broadcasting live at Casino, Arizona, and the CAZ Sports Bar.
Points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the points on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app.
You're live. Before we get to Bo Brock of the PHNX Cardinals podcast, want to take a look at some of the games going on right now in the world of college football. Well, if you're listening to this show, you might have a couple pennies weighing on the games right now. Tons of great action in the world of college football as we sit here broadcasting Take the Points live at Casino Arizona, the CAZ Sports Bar, and the Casino Arizona Sportsbook. Let's take a look. We'll just swing through the top 25 action right now. Michigan taking it to Iowa. Iowa, I believe this is a season high in points for them. They have 7. Not true, but it seems like it. They're up 20-7 right now. Michigan, the number 4 team in the country, leading Iowa at Kinnick Stadium there in Iowa City, 27 with about 2.5 minutes left to go. Number 18, Oklahoma, Jackson Groff. They are visiting TCU, an unranked TCU team. I'm sure, I say sarcastically, in the third quarter with 4 minutes that Oklahoma is winning this one handily. How are they doing?
Well, TCU is about to score again.
Oh,
They're
okay.
up 48-17, about to make it 55-17, and we haven't even reached the fourth quarter yet.
There you go. That's Big 12 football for you. Back to Big 10 football, just like Michigan, Iowa. Another seemingly boring game. Purdue at Minnesota. It is 10-10. Not in the first, not in the second. In the fourth quarter, about 6 minutes left to go. Purdue driving Minnesota 10-10 in that one. An undefeated 21st-ranked Minnesota Golden Gophers team.
Yeah, and Oregon State is currently about to score, driving right now. They're down 21-7 against a ranked Utah team.
There you go. Oregon State 21-7. They're trailing number 12 Utah at home. About 10 minutes left to go in the first half. Texas Tech at Kansas State. 2 big upset winners recently. Texas Tech at number 25, Kansas State. By the way, Kansas State, number 25, just ahead of number 26, Kansas, was the largest receiving votes. So bragging rights in Manhattan. That's where this game is being played right now, 30-20, with about 6.5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. And in Ole Miss right there, hanging out down in Oxford, just down the road from the Grove, number 14, Ole Miss. Number 7, Kentucky on the road. It's a close one. 3-point game, Jackson Groff. With 2.5 minutes left to go in the game, it's 22-19. Ole Miss leading Kentucky. That's a good matchup there. Number 14, number 7 in the country.
Yeah, and it looks like Kentucky's going to get one more chance here with 2:45 left. I believe they're about to get the ball soon. 3rd and 11, Mississippi trying to get the third down, but we'll see.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Marco D'Angelo from Wager Talk joins us. He's going to give us his pick on NC State Clemson. Game day was there today. Death Valley is the site of number 10, NC State at number 5, Clemson. And Marco's also going to give us his pick on the Arizona Cardinals game tomorrow. But to help us break down that game a little bit more as the Arizona Cardinals visit Baker, the touchdown maker, and the Panthers in Charlotte, Bo Brock from PHNX Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Bo Brock, or spelled Bob Rack. You can also check out PHNX Cardinals. That's PHNX_Cardinals. The podcast, as he does great work for PHNX Sports. What's up, Bo? Thanks for joining us this Saturday.
What's up, guys? I was shocked to hear Michigan actually playing a team that it's a juggernaut compared to who they opened their season with.
Oh, come on now. Michigan's played, I think.
Come on. UConn, Hawaii.
Little Sisters of the Poor, I believe. Hey, they start off with Colorado State. That's a school. That's about it.
It certainly is.
Hey, Bo, as we turn our attention to the Arizona Cardinals, you mentioned playing some competition for Michigan. The Arizona Cardinals, they've started off the season with some, and I know the Raiders are 0-3 on the season, but what a tough start to the season for the Arizona Cardinals. But what have you learned about this team in those first 3 weeks against the Chiefs on the road in Vegas and then back at home against the defending champions with the LA Rams?
That they haven't played their best football yet, I guess, and that's not going to blow anybody's mind. But 11 of the 12 quarters that they've played is not been acceptable. It's not been competitive, and they were able to pull one out against the Raiders. And the teams that have beaten the Raiders are 0-6. This wasn't as impressive in hindsight as you felt it was. The thrilling overtime scoop and score. The Arizona Cardinals built some confidence off of that and then just squandered it a little bit this last week against the Rams. And they were able to move the football, but they just couldn't cash in. And I think that this week, Mike, is going to be one of those where it's going to have to rebuild some confidence, not only for the team itself, but with this fan base that, hey, they should be able to compete. They should be able to beat a team like the Carolina Panthers, sure, coming off their first win. But, before that, they were on their own skid. They had lost 9 straight dating back to last season, and Baker Mayfield is he's no longer the touchdown maker, Mike. He's far removed from that.
It's just a great nickname. Hey, Bo, so I'm going to ask you a dumb question, the kind that I did many times on these airwaves on the Bauer and Bo show back in the day, is because I've always thought it's interesting that fans and some players, some analysts, that they make a big deal out of the early start. The Cardinals go back east. They can never win the early game. And here's some records of the game and all that. The Cardinals aren't the early game tomorrow. Even though they're going all the way to the East Coast, they're going to go play in Charlotte. The Cardinals are the afternoon game. This is the dumb question. Does that help the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury said he thought so. He thinks that it would help the team and kind of stay consistent with their schedule and not have to have the early kickoff. And he acknowledged, the history, the past with this team that hasn't had a whole lot of success early. But also keep in mind, this is a team that's 8-1 on the road in their last 9 road games. They had a really solid, visiting team record last year, and they're 1-0 this year. So maybe there's a little extra confidence that they're playing with, and they've changed that narrative that, this Arizona Cardinals team can't go east and win early. But, yeah, they don't have to deal with that. It sounds like they're going to have to deal with some sort of element. It's not as severe or inclement weather as they expected earlier this week, and things are getting a little bit better. But, it's never easy to fly across country and play a football game. But, also let's keep in mind that they're not exactly sitting in coach and having to get a couple connections here. I think they'll be fine and ready for this football game. They better be. I mean, this is a team that really has no-showed outside of one quarter this season. So it's a good opportunity, I think. And they talk ad nauseum about getting that fast start, and they haven't had it yet. And it's just a good opportunity. And if you look at the past 6 games where Carolina has had their way with the Cardinals, they've gotten off the fast start. So the Arizona Cardinals really have to combat that with their own and really cash in early, I think.
Bo Brock, PHNX Sports. But I want to talk to you about Rondale Moore. Now, this is someone that has been injured, been in the injury report, as we know, but this week he's practiced. He's currently questionable with a hamstring injury. What have you seen from him this week during practice, and do you think he'll play tomorrow, or do you think it'll be limited snaps? What's your take on Rondale Moore?
Yeah, Jackson, I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be on a snap count, obviously, and that's kind of how they've been working guys back into the lineup, whether it's on the offensive, defensive side of the football. And Rondale Moore, he looked, according to Kyler Murray, because we're limited as far as what we get to see. I mean, he looked good stretching, he looked good in his position drills, but Kyler Murray, who said he looked fresh and rejuvenated out there on the football field, which is great because, a fresh, rejuvenated Rondale Moore is somebody that's going to be able, you would assume, to go out there and make plays. But, what's his role going to look like? Because this is a guy that they carved out a role for going into the season, and now that role is being played by Greg Dortch, and Greg Dortch is playing at a very high level. You can't just kind of remove him from that role now. So how does Moore kind of recarve out something for himself come tomorrow? That's going to be the interesting thing. A.J. Green's not going to go. He's got the bone bruise. He's already been ruled out. So are we going to see more of an outside receiver look for Rondale Moore, which we didn't get last year? We're going to see more of what we saw from Rondale last year, where it's more of the horizontal game, where he's getting the ball at the line of scrimmage and then trying to go north and south. We saw a little bit too much east and west, unfortunately, but could be more opportunities like that. Or we're going to see like some double slot wide receiver look, and maybe Zach Ertz to get some outside looks with A.J. Green on the sidelines. Really going to be fascinating to see how they play this. But the one thing's for sure, I mean, it's going to be Hollywood Brown and Greg Dortch, and then whoever gets the ball after that, it's going to be guys getting open and making plays for Kyler Murray.
You study film. You are a Cardinals reporter. You know everything about this team, ins and outs. What do you think the Cardinals have to do tomorrow, offensively, defensively, special teams as a whole, to beat the Panthers? What do you think is the biggest key here?
let's start on the offensive side. I think it's just execution. It's just being able to make the plays for your quarterback. I think a lot of people get lost in their frustration with the play calling, but the plays that are being called, I mean, there's open receivers, there's guys that, when Kyler Murray's finding them, they're not securing the football, they're not making the plays, they're not moving the chains, and those are drive killers. And that's what we've seen from the offense that has kind of put themselves in a hole. And then defensively, they just got to get off the field on third down. They've been decent as far as getting some negative plays on first and second down, and that's kind of the recipes for success for Vance Joseph. But then you'll see these third and longs, and the coverage is so bad that they're not able to kind of get off the field and get the ball into the offense's hands. So there's the frustration there. And this defense has not gotten itself an interception this season. It'd be nice to maybe get their hands on a couple Baker Mayfield passes tomorrow. That would help. I mean, they've gotten the ball on the turf, and I think they'll have a little bit better success getting home as far as racking up some sacks. That Marcus Golden's going up against a rookie offensive left tackle. Should be a good opportunity for him to get his first sack. And J.J. Watt is one of those questionable guys. I think he'll play as well, leading the team in sacks with 2 so far.
Hey, Bo Brock joining us here on Take the Points, Fox Sports 910 Phoenix, broadcasting live from Casino, Arizona, and the Casino Arizona Sportsbook. Now, Bo, I'm taking a look up at the lines right here. The Carolina Panthers are 1-point favorites, right? So the Panthers are -1. We got a total of 43.5. Before I do ask you for your pick, and I know that you've done some great work with the PHNX Bets podcast as well, let's take a look at the other side of things in terms of Christian McCaffrey, one of the most dangerous weapons in the entire NFL. How does he look? Is he close to 100%? I know he said he feels great this week, but there's still some trepidation in terms of, is he going to be 100% for the Cardinals tomorrow?
Right, yeah, he's one of those guys listed as questionable officially. He practiced on Friday. David Newton, a solid reporter on the Carolina Panthers side of things, has been following this story closely, and it sounds like he's going to go. Ian Rappaport, a guy who you listen to on 910 every week with Jody, he says that they're optimistic that McCaffrey's going to play, and that's bad news for the Cardinals because he's just been one of those guys who terrorized the Cardinals throughout his career. We can all remember that 76-yard run where he went untouched. And when he's out there in the Arizona Cardinals, the team that's been getting gashed the first 3 games of the season, I mean, it just seems like it's nightmare fuel for Vance Joseph and his defensive players tomorrow. Guys like Zaven Collins, I don't expect Isaiah Simmons to get the opportunities to be a run stopper because he's primarily out there on pass plays. But like Nick Vigil or Ben Neiman, they're going to have to step up and slow down this run game against the Panthers, because if you don't, I mean, it's going to be a long day. But I still think that the biggest key for the Cardinals is that fast start on offense. If they can get a lead early, maybe you can kind of take away Christian McCaffrey opportunities. He won't be able to run the ball as much and make him a little bit more one-dimensional with Baker Mayfield throwing the football.
Bo Brock, PHNX Sports Cardinals reporter. And my last question here, Bo, through these 3 games that you've seen, who's been the most impressive or maybe shocking Cardinals player that you've been impressed with so far that you think will continue on and lead this team throughout the season?
Lead the team, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
lead's probably
impressive. I would say Greg Dortch has been the most impressive, just because, as far as the stats go and then the advanced analytics, as far as the separation he's getting from a guy who is undrafted, and he was even on this Carolina team a couple of years ago and made his way all around the Jets. He was on with Gang Green for a little bit, couldn't find his way at the NFL level. And for him to kind of parlay a strong training camp in preseason and to actually being a legitimate wide receiver 2 for the Cardinals and one of Kyler Murray's like lone bright spots on this offense, I think it's really incredible and a testament to Greg Dortch and all the work he puts in. And you see like the guys who can't get on the field, knee bruise, like after the first preseason game, was back out on the practice field the next day. Like he knows that one of his best abilities is his availability. So I really liked watching Dortch. So I'd say Dortch, but as far as the leaders, you need guys to step up. Like you need a big Kyler Murray game tomorrow. I think it's one of those 4 total touchdown games, and him kind of take over and show that he's the best quarterback on the field tomorrow when Baker Mayfield's on the other sideline.
I just heard you say his best ability is availability. I figured I apologize. I should have introduced Christian McCaffrey as a bell cow back just to kind of complete the football cliche, run there. But hey, Bo, let's take a look there. Let's take a look at the at the board here at Casino Arizona at the sportsbook. You got the Panthers -1, 43.5 is the total. If you were a betting man and you were standing here at the window at Casino Arizona, would you be putting down a couple dollars on the Cardinals or the Panthers? What's your pick in this game, Bo?
I don't know if this is just do factor, betting with my heart, or what. I think that this is a Cardinals game. I think they win this game. I'd take a money line. That could come back and bite me because this team hasn't shown you anything as far as the trends go dating back to last season. There's nothing that you can really hang your hat on. But I'm not sold on this Carolina team. And I think that this could be very well to be the offensive showing that we've been waiting for. And Kyler Murray, they just need it. They need it more in Carolina. Cliff Kingsbury needs to take a step back on the overall betting odds that he's going to be the first coach fired and give that back to Matt Rule. And the only way they do that is with a W this weekend. So I think that the Cardinals, if they do get the win, they go 2-2 and they're in a pretty good spot, with the Seahawks in a couple weeks after Philly to be 3-3 with DeAndre Hopkins coming back. So I think they understand that and they're focused and they've knocked the rust off of really having a country club preseason training camp. So this seems to be a pretty pivotal matchup on the road, even though it's only week 4. I'll take the Cardinals money line. As far as that total, it's really going to be interesting to see what happens with the weather. And, that 43 points, you'd have to assume the Cardinals would have to do some heavy lifting getting there against Carolina. So I'll probably go under and take the Cardinals.
There you go, Bo Brock making his picks. Cardinals on the money line, and he's leaning under. Well, I'll interpret that for you, leaning under on that one. Bo, I know we can find you on Twitter at Bo Brock. Where else can we find you, listen to you, watch all that stuff during the week?
Yeah, you can listen to PHNX Cardinals podcast wherever you find your podcast, whatever provider you prefer, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and then YouTube. If you want to see our ugly mugs each and every day, we're on our YouTube channel at PHNX Sports.
There you go. Well, we're actually streaming right now as well, live, so you can see our ugly mugs as well. Bo, always good to catch up with you. Look forward to whenever in the future we finally get to have young Cray Brock on the show as well, Bo's young son. Come out here and potentially even making better picks than Bo does for these games.
Thanks, Bo.
He's ready. He's ready. He'll ramble on worse than I will. It's just surprising.
But not as bad as me in terms of rambling. Bo, always good to catch up with you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise, man. Later.
There you go. That's Bo Brock, PHNX Cardinals. Lot to break down with that game. We're going to get Marco D'Angelo's thoughts at the bottom of the hour as well. Coming up on the other side, a huge, huge upset in the world of college football. That is almost complete. We have a couple other finals on the board. We'll get you updated with the scoreboard next on Take the Points, Fox Sports 910 Phoenix.
Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar, Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
That's right. We are broadcasting live exclusively on Fox Sports 910, Arizona's only sports gambling radio show, broadcasting live at the CAZ Sports Bar, and, of course, on Fox Sports 910 Phoenix, foxsports910.com, the free iHeartRadio app, all over the friggin' place. But every Saturday we are physically here, hanging out at Casino, Arizona, at their fantastic sports book. We got a whole – I mean, the place is almost full here. We got a ton of people, and it's always great to watch a game in a sports book, Jackson, because there's a wall of 6 games behind us, and the crowd right in front of us, they're all cheering about something different. This guy over here, he's got the over. This lady over here, she's got the under. They're cheering on different sides. Somebody scores a touchdown. A bettor's either happy or heartbroken. And taking a look at some of the action today, we just had one of the biggest games of the day, a couple top 25 teams meeting there in Oxford, Mississippi. And it came down to the wire.
The wire.
Kentucky at Ole Miss, and it was exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Kentucky driving in down 3. All they needed was a field goal. They throw a touchdown pass, completed, gets called back for holding, I believe was the call there. And next play, Will Levis from Kentucky gets stripped. Ole Miss recovers and secures a big statement win against a higher-ranked 7th seed Kentucky. It was a great game alongside some other games that we will talk as well. But, yeah, I mean, college football, man, it's been so good so far this season. You got to love it as we head into conference play and rivalries.
Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Marco D'Angelo, wagertalk.com. He's going to join us. We'll get to him here in just about 10 minutes. But number 4, Michigan, went on the road and they beat up on Iowa. This could be a high-scoring game for Iowa, maybe their highest scoring game of the season. They actually scored 14 points, if you believe that. They actually scored 14 points, but they lost in this one. That is a season high in points for them, but they lose 27-14 against Michigan, number 4 team in the country. Another Big Ten game. Purdue gets the win 2010 at Minnesota. Minnesota previously undefeated. They were 4-0. They were 21st ranked in the country. That no more for them. We already mentioned Kentucky and Ole Miss, that one a final. And then there's a couple other games going on right now involving the top 25. Namely, number 18, Oklahoma is on the road at TCU. Jackson, what in the hell is going on in Fort Worth, Texas? Madness.
I mean, the Big 12 showing that they can play. I mean, it's the unranked teams that are undefeated. You saw UCLA last night, unranked, beat Washington 15 ranked last night. Now you got TCU dominating Oklahoma with still 11 minutes left. This is unfortunate for Oklahoma because I wanted to see 2 ranked teams, Oklahoma, Texas, next week in the Red River Showdown.
Yep.
But it looks like maybe Texas is the only ranked team from this. I don't see Oklahoma being ranked after this demolishing loss against TCU.
I believe the phrase the kids call it nowadays is double nickels. No, that's actually,
I've never heard of it, but yeah.
It's more of an old timer phrase. Double nickels, TCU giving up or putting the double nickels up on the board, 55-24 in the fourth quarter as they lead at home over Oklahoma. Texas Tech at Kansas State. These 2 teams fresh off of upset wins. How are we looking at that game, Jackson?
Yeah, Kansas State's up by 9, driving currently with 1:41 left. They look like they're about to win that game, 37-28. But I mean, Kansas State, another great win from them. Adrian Martinez, now he's quarterback, 12 rushes, 171 yards, and 3 touchdowns running. And the biggest thing you've seen from him this year compared to his ages at Nebraska is he's not turning the ball over. He's playing more smart. He doesn't have as many weapons as he did at Nebraska, but you can tell he's playing great football and he's playing smart football as well.
So they're leading at home there in the Little Apple. And now let's take a look. The only other top 25 game in action right now is in the Conference of Champions.
The Pac-12.
The Pac-12. What do we got going on? Number 12, Utah at home there in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, this is an Oregon State team that's very dangerous. We saw last weekend against USC. They lost in a heartbreaker late touchdown pass from Caleb Williams to Jordan Addison with 2 minutes left in that game at Corvallis. But, I mean, Oregon State down 8, looking into halftime right now. 37 seconds left in the second quarter. They're down 8, so they got a shot Utah started out with the ball, so Oregon State gets the ball in the second half. This is a dangerous Oregon State team. We'll see how this varies here. I'm looking at the sheet right now, and Utah was favored 10.5 in this game against Oregon State. So right now, Oregon State is covering.
There you go. There you go. Oregon State covering. Now let's take a look at the rest of the Pac-12. Starting here about 2:30 this afternoon. You got the Bears, not my Bears, but the Cal Golden Bears, fresh off of a huge blowout victory over the Arizona Wildcats last week. They're in the Palouse taking on Washington State. The Bears at the Cougars. You got Washington State -4 in that game. 2 3-1 teams there. Two teams usually at the bottom of the conference in recent history. Actually having pretty good seasons.
Yeah, these are two dangerous teams that could upset maybe a USC, a Utah, an Oregon, or even a Washington or UCLA. I mean, these are two dangerous teams with veteran quarterbacks. California, I mean, they lost a tough game a couple weeks ago to Notre Dame. Washington State lost a tough game last week to Oregon. Two teams desperate for a win at Wazoo. It'll be an interesting game for the Cougars and for the Golden Bears.
3 more games in the Pac-12. You got Colorado at Arizona. The Buffs, no surprise, they're getting 17.5 points in Tucson. Arizona taking a whole truckload of points with them. Arizona plus 24.5. 24.5 was the latest number we saw here at the Casino Arizona Sportsbook. On the road at number 6 USC. Those games later tonight in the Pac-12 nightcap on Fox Sports 1. The hashtag Pac-12 After Dark is the trees at the Ducks. You got Stanford visiting number 13 Oregon. Oregon laying 17 points at home in that game.
Stanford's scary too. Last year, Oregon lost to Stanford. This is a team, Tanner McKee, projected draft pick this season at quarterback, and it'll be interesting to see. I believe the game's at Oregon, so this is a good game for both Oregon and Stanford. We'll see what happens if Oregon can go 4-1.
The biggest game of the day in terms of the grand scheme of things of college football is at Death Valley there in South Carolina. Clemson playing host to number 5 Clemson, playing host to number 10 NC State. Marco D'Angelo will help us break down that game next on Take the Points, powered by CAZ Sports Bar and the Casino Arizona Sportsbook.
Sports Bar's resident handicapper, Marco D'Angelo of WagerTalk.com, joins us now on Fox Sports 910.
So much college football action. If you want more, if you just can't get enough. Prairie View A&M Panthers at the Grambling State Tigers. You can watch that game live on AZTV Channel 7, your new home for college football here in Arizona, featuring schools that have produced some of the game's best athletes, great football, and on top of that, high-energy halftime bands. Coverage you won't find on any other station. Kickoff later this afternoon is at 4. College football on AZTV Channel 7. That's coming up this afternoon, but coming up right now, joining us, our guy, Marco D'Angelo. You can follow him on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. Check out wagertalk.com for his picks every once in a while. He even gives some free picks out on the website as well. Marco, it's always good to catch up with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem, guys. Just another crazy day of football. It's a busy weekend.
We've already seen absolute madness on the field. We got some tremendous games on tap. Hell, we had some good games last night in the Pac-12 as well with that UCLA-Washington game. But Jackson is going to start us off with the big game of the day. What do you got?
Yeah, Marco, the big game of the day, number 10, NC State at Clemson. Now, the line is -6.5 in favor of Clemson. It's now -7 at the CAZ Sports Bar's sports book. And then the over-under line is at 45.5. What are your thoughts about this game, Marco?
Yeah, this line's been bouncing back and forth between the 6.5 and the 7. It seems like every time that it gets back to 7, there's a wave of sharp money coming in on the NC State side, getting that full touchdown. And that's the way I'm looking at this game. I do like this NC State team. Coming into the season, I thought they were the most complete team in the ACC. They brought back almost the entire offense, and this one of the few teams in the ACC that actually plays defense. They got a solid defense. Now, we know for years Clemson has always had the best defense in the ACC. That's not been the case so far this season. Now, I will admit they've had a couple injuries on that defense and are getting a couple of those players back today, but are they going to make an impact in one game? You saw last week, Wake Forest went up and down the field. Both teams did. And what everybody's getting excited about with Clemson is because finally the quarterback for Clemson lived up to all the hype, when he came in to take over for, obviously, Trevor Lawrence moving on to the NFL. We had never seen what we expected and all the hype was until last week. But, guys, that was Wake Forest's defense. He's going against a much tougher defense today. I like NC State in this game. You also got to wonder, that game last week for Clemson, they went overtime with Wake Forest. It was a double overtime game, so you had a draining game in that fashion. Clemson, history is on their side in this series. They have cashed 7 of the last 8 against the spread against NC State. But like I said, this is the best NC State defense we've seen, and that offense is solid. I'm calling for the upset tonight. It's going to be a good game. Just the opposite of last week. Last week was a barn burner, high scoring. I'm looking at a lower scoring game this week. I'm taking NC State plus the points as they win it 20-17.
Okay. 20-17, the winner there. So you're taking NC State. You're taking them outright, but you're definitely jumping on those points, Marco. 2017 NC State.
And the under as well.
There you go. Oh, look at you doing some quick math right there. I'm not that good at math, Marco.
2017, that's 37. That's less than 45.5. Okay, Marco.
You must have gone to college over here.
That's that Montana education.
There you go. Hey, Marco, when you were talking there, we were looking at, even when Jackson was talking about it, 6.5 goes to 7. Before we get to the Cardinals-Panthers game, Marco, when you take a look at those magic numbers in betting football, what are those numbers and how do you approach, the 3, the 7, and so on?
Yeah, and when I said that you get betting both sides, a lot of times sharp bettors, the guys that are out here for a living, sometimes they'll tell you they don't bet teams, they bet numbers. And when a game is sitting at 6.5, obviously that favors, if you like the favorite, that's when you want to get them because you're getting it under the full touchdown. And you'll see it's almost like a cat and mouse game with different syndicates here in Vegas. The guys that want the dog, the minute that 7 goes up, they grab it, bring it back down to 6.5. And then what happens is a lot of the casual bettors, and remember, there's more casual bettors than sharp bettors, and you can move a line just as fast with all of those casual bettors. Maybe they're only making $100 wager, but you got 100 guys come up and bet a game for $100. Well, then all of a sudden you got $10,000 on one side. You move the line, and then a big bet comes in on the other side, plus the 7 points there. The 3, you said it. The 3, the 7, those are the key numbers. More so in the NFL than college, but yes, it is very important in college as well. NFL 3-point is the biggest number, the most valuable, and a lot of times when that game moves off of 3, the books don't want to do it, so they'll keep it at 3, but instead of paying minus 110 like you normally do for a wager, they might make you lay minus 115. They juice it a little extra to get you to keep that 3, because the books don't want to move off those key numbers. Because if they move it to 3.5 and you grab the 3.5 and it fell at 3, guess what? They push some of the bets and lose some of the bets. That's not what they're in the business to do.
Marco, I got the sheet right here from the Casino Arizona Sportsbook, and we're not even up to 3 in the Arizona Cardinals-Carolina Panthers game. The latest number here, and I know you oftentimes see numbers moving around, especially when it's this close to a pick-em, but right now it looks like the Carolina Panthers are laying a point at home. Arizona Cardinals on the road. As we look to the Bird Gang, what are you seeing from that game tomorrow, Cardinals at Panthers?
Yeah, to be honest with you guys, we're seeing some movement here in Vegas. Seeing as many pick'ems as I am minus 1 on the Carolina side. I really do believe that by tomorrow morning, when the public gets involved in the game, after the college games are over today, Arizona's going to cross over and be the favorite tomorrow.
Wow.
You've got, Christian McCaffrey's banged up, and he is a big part of that Carolina offense. And I should say, it's been a very dismal offense so far. Baker Mayfield, as you know, new quarterback this year. Mark Rule is under fire there in Carolina. A lot of pressure on him. His teams have not done well. They're just 5-13 straight up the last 18 at home under Mark Rule. Not good. And on the flip side, this is the best role for Arizona. I can't explain it, but they play better football on the road. They're 14-4-1 as a road dog in the regular season under Kingsbury. That's just a phenomenal stat. The last 7, they're straight up 7-0, straight up and against the spread. Now, as I said, that stat might not be pertinent tomorrow if they cross over and be the favorite.
Right.
But when you're dealing with a line like this, it's still okay. I'm looking at this one, and I like Arizona in this game. I think they've got more offensive weapons to use in this game. And Carolina, if they fall behind, this team's in trouble. They don't have an offense that can move the ball down the field. Baker so far, the last 2 games, dismal in the passing game. 129 yards 2 games back, 148 last week, and he's completing under 50% the last 2 games. I know Arizona's had problems defensively this year, and the biggest problem for Arizona has been the quick starts that the other teams are getting against them. This season, through 3 games, Arizona's been outscored in the first half 56-13. Good news is, like I said, this is a Carolina offense that's very sluggish. So Arizona should not fall behind in this game. If they do, it should only be by 1 score, not like we saw in the Kansas City game, not like we saw, obviously, in that Raider game where they had the big comeback. But I like them on the road here against Carolina. We'll take them. I'm going to call for the upset. You can't even call it an upset with this point spread. But let's call it Arizona 24. Carolina 17. I am on Arizona.
That is Marco D'Angelo with his Cardinals pick there. Appreciate the time, Marco, as always. Such a a great time to have you on every Saturday. We'll catch you next Saturday with more advice and more picks from you.
No problem, guys. Enjoy the games, and let's cash some tickets.
Hey,
there you go.
Let's win.
That's awesome.
Why not?
Wagertalk.com. That's where you head. Go online, wagertalk.com. It's got all the info. They've got picks, but I love this. There's right in the top middle. It says free picks. So they just like he hooks up our listeners every week with his picks for free right here on Take the Points. They've got picks from him, from Marco, and all the experts at wagertalk.com. And you hear it always backing up with the information like that. The Arizona Cardinals, 56-13 in the first half. They've been outscored this year. That's the kind of info Marco brings for you. We'll recap his picks, all of the picks we've had from our various experts over the course of the day today, and give you our picks next on Take the Points right here on Fox Sports 910, broadcasting live at the Casino Arizona Sportsbook.
The Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
You're live.
So we're hanging out here at the CAZ Sports Bar, which is the home of the Casino Arizona Sportsbook. And you can walk up, you can grab yourself some sheets. You can go over to the sports book and you can talk to the friendly staff and place down your bets, or you can walk right up to the automated machines. A lot of times that's a lot of fun. I mean, because you can literally do it walking into the sports bar. Just walk right up, boom, 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 put in a couple bets on the screen, print out your ticket, and you're good to go. But what goes on here on Monday nights, Jackson? Tell me about that, man.
Oh, it's unreal, Bauer. We have our own Monday night tailgate, handing out free money. And guess what, folks? You don't have to even submit any money. You just got to watch Monday Night Football with us, and you have a chance to win money. We do squares, we do props, we do football bingo. We do it all here at the CAZ Sports Bar. And hey, you get to meet Rock, you get to meet Manute, Jimmy B, myself. Maybe Bauer will make an appearance one of these Monday Night Football. Who knows?
You guys are handing out money, so I should probably show up.
You should.
You said it costs nothing, and I get to win money potentially.
Come on,
that's great. So let me ask you this: you guys handed out like gift cards for use at a future time or something like that? Like if I win one of the many contests, if I win squares, if I win the kickoff jackpot, if I win any of the different games that are going on, you guys give me like a gift card that I can use like next year, right?
Cold hard cash.
Wait a second.
That you could use now.
All right. So let me get this straight. So you hand me money in a sports book, then I can go bet and turn into more money.
100%. Or you can invest and save it.
Or that is an investment, is betting right here at the Casino Arizona.
That is true. That is
true.
true.
Of course, gamble responsibly, but I mean, that sounds awesome. It costs absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Because a lot of times, you're like, oh, yeah, cool promotion. It's going to cost me $20 to sign up. No. It's free. You just got to get here and get a seat. You got to get here early. There's always a lineup outside.
It gets
right?
packed. It gets really packed here. You can
Love
come
that.
in, get you a nice glass of water, get you a nice beer, maybe a Coors Light or something,
or a bucket of beers, whatever. That works too.
Yeah, they got some great specials too Monday nights as well. Here at the CAZ Sports Bar, it's the place to be on Monday Night Football. I love coming here every Monday night, interacting with viewers, listeners that watch shows and listen to shows on Fox Sports 910 here at the CAZ Sports Bar. I believe it's the Rams 49ers on Monday. 49ers are favored in this game, which is crazy to me because I thought the Rams are the most impressive team after the 49ers lost to the Broncos last Sunday night.
As of right now, 1.5 points. The Niners are minus 1.5.
Wow.
Man, I wish we had more time with Marco because I would have asked him about that game and be like, that to me looks like the line's upside down. It looks to me like the Rams should be getting points. But then again, I kind of thought the same thing last night with Washington against UCLA. I looked at that game and I'm like, Washington should probably be favored in this one. And clearly I was wrong and my wallet shows because I lost on that one. I had a bet on Washington to be leading at halftime and win the game, and I was wrong on both of those by a lot.
Wow. Yeah, it's those certain lines that the sportsbook comes out with that you're like, wait, what am I seeing here? Are they seeing something else that I'm not seeing?
You second guess.
And it turns out they're always right. Like a couple weeks ago, Washington was favored against Michigan State, who was ranked 11, and Washington was unranked.
Hey, I cashed on that bet. I had a couple on that game. It was great.
Oh, I could not believe that Washington would beat Michigan State that a couple weeks ago. But when we talk about picks, Bauer, I believe it's almost that time for us to make our picks.
Sir, yes, sir. It is our time to make our picks now. Mike Gross, not here today. He's on assignment today and also next week. So he gets to file his picks via the old internets. He's got his picks in. Earlier today, we had our picks. Our guy, Jeff Hoodzow, he made his picks best deal in town, bestdealaz.com. Remember, if you beat Jeff every week or any week, if you call in and you beat Jeff, he makes his picks an hour ago at 11:45. You get a $50 best deal in town gift certificate, and you're automatically entered to win the season-long prize of 75-inch 4K smart TV. That's at 11:45 every week. But right now, Jackson, Colorado at Arizona, the Wildcats at home. They're laying 17.5.
This is a statement win, a statement game for Arizona. Give me Arizona minus 17.5. I'm going to take the points here.
That's a lot of points. You're not taking the points. You're laying the
Sorry,
points, right?
laying the points.
Come on, I was going to say. You said same.
I confused myself there.
All right, the name of the show is Take the Points. I'm taking the points. Give me Colorado plus 17.5. That's a lot of points. Also, I'm a Sun Devil, so go Buffs. Let's go. Of course, Arizona reeling following their loss at Cal's homecoming last week. Speaking of a lot of points, 17.5's a lot. 25.5's even more. It's 24.5 as I'm looking at the number right now. 24.5 from here at Casino Arizona Sportsbook. 24.5 is what the Arizona State Sun Devils are getting on the road at USC tonight. What do you think, Jackson? Are you going to take the points? You're going to lay the points?
Well, I'm going to lay the points again here. I just think USC is a more dominant team. I think they're going to wear out the Sun Devils early, and it's not going to be close. I'm also in last place, folks. I'm 5-9-1, as you and Gross are tied for 8-6. So this could be my either bounce back week, or I could just, be down by more. So I'm going to take USC minus 24.5. This is a great USC team, a depleted ASU team. I like the Trojans.
All right. And in the last game, Mike Gross he was taking the points as well, plus 17.5. He's also going to take ASU's 24.5. So Mike Gross loading up on the name of the show. Take the points. I'm laying the points here. I'm with you, Jackson. USC minus 24.5. Look, the Sun Devils they're not good at football. USC is good at football, and they're at home. Now, underwhelming performance for them just the other week, but give me USC minus the 24.5. Now, on Sunday, tomorrow, the Arizona Cardinals visit the Carolina Panthers. You're looking at about 1.5, but that thing's moving. Last we saw here at the Casino Arizona Sportsbook, it is a point. So it is 1 point. Carolina -1. Jackson, Mike Gross is going Carolina -1. How about you?
I'm going to go Cardinals +1 here. I have the money line in my notes. I don't know if we can bet on the money line for our competition here. So we either take the points or lay the points. We're not money line. That's not the name of our show. So I'm going to take the points. Give me the Cardinals +1 bounce back game here. They got a lot of people injured, but this is a must win for the Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals on the road at the Carolina Panthers. They win outright. I love catching a point as well. That's cute. As our guy Marco D'Angelo said, they might actually be favored in this game by the time kickoff comes around tomorrow. Marco D'Angelo's picks once again. He has North Carolina State winning 20-17, and he's also got the Carolina Panthers losing to your Arizona Cardinals 24-17 tomorrow. So those are Marco's picks. Of course, Marco, great every week. WagerTalk.com. Bo Brock from PHNX Sports. We appreciate him joining us. We love these guys out here having a great time at the Casino Arizona Sportsbook, betting on all the games out there. For Jackson Groff, I'm Mike Bauer. Our guy Richie Flores back in studio. And, of course, most of all, we appreciate you, the listeners. Take the points. Fox Sports 910, Phoenix.
Thanks for listening.